we're going to look at the pathogen assignment, and you're going to find the pathogen assignment starting out at the home page. We're going to come down over here to the assignment page. When this comes up, you can see all of the different assignments that are out there. This one that we're looking at is called Pathogens. It's right here. You click on that assignment, and there will be a short link for a video here to show you how to do this, which is exactly what I'm creating at this point. It is due on April 11th, which is the Monday before the last week of classes. And it says all pathogens must be submitted by email. Here's my email address. And the subject line should be your last name - pathogens and which pathogens you're sending to me. Now, let's pull this up. This is in a PDF format, and I'm going to preview it over here. And what we've got is this shows you a listing of pathogens, and you can see that there are quite a lot of them. We have a total of 60 of them. And it says for each of the above etiological agents, give the following: disease name, common symptomology, part of host infected, mode of transmission, and then it asks for a short description. If it's a virus, it wants to know if it's an RNA or DNA virus. If it's a bacterium, it wants to know gram reaction, which would be something like a gram-positive bacillus or a gram-negative coccus or something along those lines where you're talking about the gram reaction and the shape of the material. And if it's a protozoan, a fungus, or a higher organism, a short description of what the thing looks like. Now, the way we start this is I'm going to download this, and it says I'm going to open it in a new window, and it's going to tell me it wants to save it to my computer. And as I do that, I'm going to call up that particular part, and it says it's in a PDF format. Now, it says the way I want to do these is they're doing it at the rate of 5 per week, and all should be submitted by 11 April 2016. The reason I ask for 5 a week, especially in the beginning, is so that you start doing them right off the bat. The quicker you get them done, the quicker you are through all of this. And if you send in 5 within the first week or two, that gives me the opportunity to go through them and make sure you're doing it right before you invest a lot of time or effort in them. The easiest way to deal with this is to start out with a spreadsheet. And I'm going to create a blank Excel document in here. Out of this, I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet over here. Now, this is a PDF document, which means you can actually go down, and I'm going to pick out the first 40 of these. I'm going to block them out like that. I'm going to hit Control-C, which is going to copy, or you can go and you can right-click and hit copy. Then I go back to my Excel worksheet, and I open up my Excel sheet, and then I paste them in here. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to widen the column over here so that I've got a complete listing of all they've got. Now, it said that these are pathogen names. It says that I want the disease name, the common symptomology, part of the host infected, and mode of transmission, a description. Now you can see how these columns are all fairly well jumbled together, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to over here autofit column width. I'm going to autofit column width to about 40 characters, and that gives me a large area to be able to work in, all right? So I've got pathogen name, disease name, common symptomology, part of host infected, mode of transmission, description. Now I come over here and my first one says Ascaris lumbricoides. So where am I going to look? Go on the internet, and I'm going to start out by typing in Ascaris lumbricoides in here. And it's going to come up, and in this particular case I've got Wikipedia, and Wikipedia is a fairly good source for basic information. And it says Ascaris lumbricoides is the giant roundworm of humans, growing up to a length of 35 centimeters, which is 14 inches. It's in the phylum Nematoda. It's the most common parasitic worm in humans. The organism is responsible for the disease ascariasis. Well, that was the first question we had, and the disease name is therefore Ascariasis. Okay, ascariasis. The life cycle, it says it's infected when humans ingest fertilized eggs. There's your mode of transmission, right? Mode of transmission is ingestion of fertilized eggs, right? So it's not airborne. It comes through the ingestion of fertilized eggs. It said description. It said it was the giant roundworm of humans up to 14 inches. We've got that. Common symptomology. I'm going to go back over here. Epidemiology. 2 billion people affected by it. It's got a small prevalence in the United States. Symptom. Often no symptoms are seen with an lumbricoides infection. However, in the case of particular bad infections, symptoms may include bloody sputum, cough, fever, abdominal discomfort, intestinal ulcer, passing of worms, etc. Ew, that is gross. And over here, what you can do is you can kind of take a couple of these, and you don't need to have all of them, and you can kind of take that and paste it in here. All right. Now, one of the things you will see is that when you do this, sometimes these will run over from one spot to the next, and we don't necessarily want that to happen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to block out this part in here, and I'm going to take this whole spot here. And you see up here on the top where it says wrap text. I'm going to click on wrap text, and what that's going to do is that's going to do that through the entire part over here. And you can see that on this part where it said symptoms, it now wrapped the text around. It increased the amount of space, and it gave me everything I need in there. Did the same thing on the description over here. We're going to go back to part of host infected, and it says that infections are more common where sanitation in pores and raw human feces are used as fertilizer. Infections happen when a human swallows water or food contaminated with unhatched eggs, which hatch into juveniles in the duodenum. They then penetrate the mucus and submucus and enter the venules or lymphatics. Next, they pass through the right heart into the pulmonary circulation. They break out of the capillaries and enter the airspace. Acute tissue reaction occurs when several worms get lost during the migration and accumulate in other organs of the body. The juveniles migrate from the lungs up the respiratory tract to the pharynx where they are swallowed. They begin producing eggs within 60 to 65 days when swallowed. These are produced in the small intestine where the juveniles mature. It might seem odd that the worms end up in the same place where they began. One hypothesis to account for this behavior is that the migration mimics an intermediate host which would be required for juveniles of an ancestral form to develop to the third stage. Another possibility is that tissue migration enables faster growth and larger size, which increases reproductive capacity. Part of host infected is going to be the small intestine. And that basically covers this first one in here. Don't need a tremendous amount of data. What I want you to do is I want you to go out and look at different things and find out what's out there as far as the different parts that we've got. And then you would do 5 of these, submit the 5. I'll look them over, tell you whether or not they're going in the right direction. Once you've done that, just go in there, and when you've got time, knock out another 5 here or there. Don't spend any more than 5 minutes on any one of them. Right? 5 minutes on any one of them at 60 of them means it's not going to take that many hours to get them all done. You can actually knock out some of these rather quickly. And by doing that, it's a learning experience that's going to give you information. These have to be submitted by the Monday before the last week of class.